Story, WWE fans. Tonight's topics on the Wrestle Story are...
New Smackdown Tag Team Champions crowned.
The Revival, the newest comedy act.
Kofi defends his title 2 days in a row.
And the rift between Cole and Strong intensifies.
All that and more coming up. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Wrestle Story, where we discuss all things wrestling, the legends of the past, the superstars of the present, and the trailblazers of the future. We normally stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. However, this week it's been kind of messed up.
We have had so many internet issues over the last 2 days that we could not stream on Monday after Raw. Well, on Monday after Raw, we weren't going to be able to stream because we had something going on. And then yesterday, we attempted to recap both Raw and SmackDown, but the computer didn't see that we should.
We were dropping frames majorly bad last night, so couldn't get our stream in. And it looks like tonight we're going good. No drop frames right now. So
yeah, nothing is wrong. I know now that we say that, it's all going to go downhill from here.
We sound good.
But, we're here tonight to recap all three because why not? So it's going to be a long one. But we're going to talk about some wrestling.
So let's get it started.
I'm really excited. So overall, if I'm being quite honest, my favorite show of the week was SmackDown.
My favorite show was NXT.
I feel like NXT this week was kind of lackluster, if I'm being honest. There were good matches on there, which I'm cool with. I always love me some good matches. But I felt that it was just kind of lackluster compared to the last couple of weeks of NXT that we've had, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think it was as good as some of the NXTs, but the fact that they are continuing storylines, they're still building storylines. They're telling you what's going, where they're headed, what direction they're headed. And
I'm not going to say that I'm not interested in what they're doing, but I just felt that SmackDown was the best show out of the three this week.
Still think that SmackDown and Raw really have some major issues with creating the storylines right now.
And they might. I just thought that SmackDown was better this week, in my opinion. So we're going to actually start with Raw, and then we're going to go in order of days. So we're going to start with Raw, and then SmackDown, and then NXT. So we'll start with Raw, because that was on Monday. So Vince came out. He opened the show. He started off by telling us that the show was going to be amazing, because he was on it. Then Roman came out, and...
Obviously, when Vince comes out and tells you that, you better look out, because...
Hello, Magenta.
How you doing, Magenta?
How's it going? Notification bell turned on, and I'm here. Well, good thing. I know. And so I guess I kind of sort of kept my promise to you. You were like, it's Mr. Gleen and Maven stream, woohoo! And then it never happened. And I was
hopefully we stay on and have no major issues.
Yeah, let's hope. You can only hope. So, with Roman being on Raw, because Roman Reigns, sorry. He generally is not, obviously, that's the Roman we're talking about. There isn't really any other Roman. But he is not on Raw. He's not supposed to be on Raw anymore because he was drafted to SmackDown. Well, he put up a tweet saying that he was going to come to Raw, and WWE responded to it and was like, we understand Mr. Reigns is wanting to come to Raw, but no, it's not happening. He will not be there. And then he put up another tweet. He was like, just have my music ready, and I'll be there. I'm opening the show. And lo and behold, he did. Now, after WWE kind of mentioned it, it was pretty obvious that he was going to be there. I mean, no doubt in my mind that he wasn't.
Well, again, this is part of them needing to create storylines, which I still don't see where they've done anything with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to start having crossover with wrestlers.
Yeah, which is our next point. So, Roman comes out, Vince tells him, if you feel like Superman punching me again, don't. Because I got security guards in the back who are ready to take you out. And I was sitting there and I'm going, so does that mean if he speared you, they wouldn't come out? Because he specifically said Superman punched. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny that he legitimately said, if you try to Superman punch me again, not, you try to attack me again,
that's
Superman punch me.
It would have been funny if Reigns would have come out and
if he would have speared him and then been like, where are your security guards? He said Superman punch.
Yeah.
Where they at? That would have been a funny little thing to do, but they didn't, because they're stupid.
But Vince was messing up the whole opening monologue anyway, because he was talking about only 3 wrestlers coming from SmackDown, and there was like 5. So, who knows?
he says that, and then he says, you know what, I'm pretty much done listening to your family, and I'm going to keep coming back to Raw and SmackDown because I still have unfinished business on both brands. And, then Daniel Bryan comes out, who, it was good to see him because he hadn't been on TV since WrestleMania because he was out with an injury, and people were like, oh no.
Well, coming off, the injury he had before,
Well, twice. He had to retire twice.
And not being able to wrestle.
Exactly. So people were kind of worried about that. But then he came out and he was like, I came to have an intellectual conversation with you, Vince, because you're smart. And then he says he wants his title back. He said it was Kofi winning. It was a fluke. And it should never have happened. And it didn't count. And then Kofi comes out, tells Bryan, Kofi comes from SmackDown. That is now 3 SmackDown guys. Kofi comes out, he tells Bryan that he didn't need to talk to Vince, he just needed to come to him. It's along the same lines of what he told Kevin Owens 2 weeks ago when he said, hey, you didn't have to beat me up to ask for a match for the title. You should have just come to me, because I would have given it to you. And so he, says he shouldn't have asked Vince for the rematch, just ask me. Vince tells everyone to shut up. Then Drew comes out. Oh boy. Drew McIntyre comes out, tells Roman that he wasn't done with him, and Roman just ran. He ran away from Drew. And, he knew that he would never be able to beat him, even though he beat him at WrestleMania, so it really, who knows what he's talking about. He's crazy. He's a Scottish psychopath. Who knows? Then Vince ensues the Wildcard Rule. Now, what is this, you might be asking? It is where, every week, 3 superstars now we're talking about Raw, 3 superstars from SmackDown could come to Raw, or 3 superstars from Raw could go to SmackDown for that week. Now, the issue we have with this is Vincent Kennedy McMahon did not keep his word.
No.
At the beginning of the show, he said 3. This is why he's going crazy, people, and he needs to go away. Go put him in a home.
Well, again, it had 5 do crossover, and so...
Well, 5, I guess, technically, if you're counting Shane McMahon as talent, which I would, because he is wrestling, so he is talent, but they probably wouldn't go with that. They would say, oh, we had 4 superstars come over. But even then, it's like, you said 3.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna...
Well, again, this goes back to, I don't think that they had a clue what they were going to do. I think this was probably thrown in last minute.
That's what I said. I said this is 100%. It seems like
when he came out and was making the statements,
I
think
moved
that...
all of our good people to SmackDown. All of our big names to SmackDown. SmackDown Women's Division is stacked. The tag team division is now trash because we moved all of the good tag teams over here to Raw, or we broke tag teams up. So... we gotta do something to fix that. What do? Oh, Wildcard Rule. Why not?
Well, I think they just need to drop the whole thing and just do crossover anyway.
I mean, I really don't care.
Especially when you're going to be having in October, where you're going to have SmackDown on Fox, and Raw will still be on USA.
Yeah. And it's being reported that both of them want the brand split to be dropped anyways.
Well, I think it'd be better just because I think it would make it more entertaining. I think it would... and I think they need to use their wrestlers. Like, there's too many wrestlers that just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, I get that. So, this Wildcard Rule is being... it's happening. And then he tells us that tonight we're getting 2 WrestleMania rematches. Roman versus Drew, and Kofi versus Daniel Bryan in the main event for the WWE Championship. Now, ask yourself another question. You have 2 SmackDown guys in the main event of Raw. Why?
Because they're not SmackDown guys anymore. It's gonna be a crossover.
No, but that doesn't matter because they might very well be crossing over, but they still have the SmackDown label. That's what is under their name.
Well,
they're under the SmackDown label.
I think eventually what's going to happen is going to drop that.
What made a little bit of no sense to me, at least for the first time bringing this out here, you put 2 SmackDown guys in the main event of Raw when this could have been the main event on SmackDown the next night.
Well, it could have been, but the whole idea is Raw's the big show. Or supposed to be the big show. And so, you're trying to put your big matches on your big show.
I
mean, they're going to have to change because obviously when... Don't want to interrupt the flow, so answer at any time, but which of you has the best record on predictions of match results? We don't answer that question. Right here.
We actually have a championship belt that I have stolen. But we have a championship belt, and when we do our prediction shows for the big pay-per-views every month, we predict, and we see at the end of the actual show, when we do our recap, we see who predicted the most matches right. Now, at WrestleMania, it was this fool over here. But I have stolen the belt. I've taken it hostage, and it hangs out in my room.
Yes, but even like on the regular shows, like when we're sitting there watching it.
We're about 50-50, okay?
I don't know. I would
50-50 on actual shows. Weekly shows, we're about 50-50.
We'll start keeping track then.
50-50.
Because it's too predictable.
It might be.
Right now, I just think the stuff they're doing.
Oh, I predicted what was going to happen on NXT tonight after the Adam Cole and what's his butt match? Matt Riddle. That's his name.
But that was pretty obvious.
I mean, it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. See, I predicted it, so I was right.
Well, yeah.
But at big pay-per-views, he's winning. He's got to win over me. See how many times he's been champion. Is he going to be 18-time world champion? No. He'll probably be the 2,295,000 numbers champion. Okay? That's what he's going to end up being. But I'm going to redeem myself with Money in the Bank. Believe me, next weekend, I got to run for your money.
Here's why I think that I do a better job right now. Because she thinks with her heart and hoping on certain wrestlers win.
I do sometimes. I think with my heart and not with my head.
With the way they have storylines going right now, or lack thereof storylines, and make my predictions based off of
whatever, that. But any Becky match, you already know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I know who you're picking. So,
but to other matches, okay, shut your face. Because I am right. What was I? Was I right at WrestleMania?
You were.
I was right. Becky Lynch won. And your stupid answer was, no one's going to win because it's going to end in a disqualification. And I was like, you can't do that, fool. You can't do that.
Would have been more interesting.
Whatever. Becky Lynch winning was the biggest freaking thing since, ever. Okay? It's bigger than the company.
Yeah, well, that's why she'll lose here soon.
Whatever. They just made a whole bunch of Becky 2 belts merch, okay? So... And she was booked. Okay, well, with the Wildcard Rule, I guess it really doesn't matter. This wouldn't really necessarily mean she's still going to have the championship belts. But she's been booked for both SmackDown and Raw shows all the way through July.
Well, that's been like that since, 2 months ago.
Yeah, because she won the double championship. And so she was on both shows.
She was on both shows before they even...
Because they were building up to the championship match.
But the point is she still won. I mean, they were doing the crossover thing way before, they came out and announced this wildcard thing.
Okay, well, I know they were, but yeah, it's because they were building up to WrestleMania. That's what that whole situation was. Anyways, so I just didn't quite understand why we were having the Kofi and Bryan match, which is your 2 SmackDown guys, who are your, 2 big SmackDown guys, in the main event of Raw. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, it was a good match, and I don't have a problem with it, but it just didn't make sense. So then we get AJ Styles, who comes out. And he comes out to talk to Vince and tells Vince, hey, I see you're here, and blah, 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 blah. And this is the house that SmackDown AJ Styles built. I said that wrong, but, whatever. And then Seth comes out and yells at AJ and is like, this is Monday Night Rollins, and you keep saying that SmackDown is the show that or the house that AJ Styles built, but if I remember correctly, SmackDown has been a show since before you came around, and so it was kind of popular then, and now you're just... He's got a point there. Mr. AJ. He's got a point. Seth has a point. So he comes out, just yells at him and stuff. And then they, like, yell at each other some more, and they talk about where last week when they had the contracts... That was last week, right? I think it was.
Yeah.
They had the contract signing, and he was like, I just tried to shake your hand, but you shoved your championship belt in my face. And I was trying to be a nice guy, and so I did the only thing logical, which was to kick you in the face. I mean, come on. Duh. Logical stuff, right? And then Vince tells both of them, you know what's really funny? I put up a tweet, and I said when Drew and Roman and Kofi and Bryan, they were all out, I was like, I feel a meaningless tag match coming on. I wasn't right then, because they made 2 separate matches there. But I was right that there was going to be a meaningless tag match, and it was next.
Yes, but why did you feel they were going to do that?
Oh, somebody tweeted me.
But why did you feel it was going to happen?
Because it happens every week.
Yes, it happens every week.
And so
right now,
like,
that's why I said the storylines are not good right now.
It's just a matter of guessing where it's going to be.
Which is why the ratings have dropped, and they're having issues with, trying to keep people interested.
I understand that, but I watch wrestling regardless. The ratings,
Well, I understand that. You're hoping that eventually they change, and which is why we do watch it. Is maybe they'll change and start to make things a little more interesting and entertaining to people.
Yeah. So then we get Vince, who he didn't say it in these exact words, but it's the way I wrote it down. Essentially, he said, all right, you two dopes, I'm putting you a tag team match together, and you're going to be tag partners against this lucky tag team. And we get AJ and Seth versus the almighty Bobby Lashley and the ever-so-lovely Constable Corbin. He had to be on the show somewhere.
Well, it's, again, you're throwing Lashley and Corbin together for like the 984th millionth time. I don't know. It's the same stuff over and over again, just different. Those two are the same, but they keep throwing them
for loops.
Well, they keep throwing them in with, some of your bigger name stars, and it's just like, I don't know why they're doing it.
Work. So, Corbin and Lashley end up getting the win after AJ leaves Seth to the Vultures. Seth went to go tag him in the corner, and AJ was not there. AJ had walked off and up the ramp and was leaving the building because he didn't feel like he needed to win. So he left. Built up their storyline to Money in the Bank, makes it a little more heated. I think it'll be a good match.
It would have made it more heated if they would have had him turn on him or, like attack him while the other two were attacking him. Just
done that.
My opinion. I think they would have made...
it would have been something different. We had that. Then we get the death of Sami Zayn. Mr. Sami Zayn. He comes out, does his regular spiel, talking about how terrible the crowd is, and, that stuff. And then Braun Strowman finally saves us. And he comes out and attacks Sami. Oh, poor Sami. Then they take it outside the building to a dumpster, and Strowman throws Sami in. And then the garbage truck, which was conveniently around, the garbage truck comes and picks up the dumpster and squishes it with Sami in it.
Because the garbage usually gets picked up at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock at night. Yeah, like I said, the conveniently placed garbage truck.
Yeah.
Was just, hanging out, was like, oh, I thought I might take the trash out now. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to squish the whole dumpster.
Well, again, this is a storyline,
It's something goofy. It's another goofy thing they're putting Braun Strowman
I'm okay.
in. But it's better than just seeing Sami come out every week, do his regular same thing, which is kind of getting a little old and stale.
Well, it is, but I think that, again, the storylines, they need to create storylines that people are interested in and want to see and want to watch, and right now they're just not doing that.
I get it. So, the death of Sami Zayn, but wait, we'll talk about him a little later. He comes back. Who knew? Then we get a Lucha House Party. We get a Lucha House Party versus some local dude in a match. And, of course, Lucha House Party, they get the win, as pretty much expected. They didn't even tell us who this guy was, which is why I'm just assuming he was some local guy and not, like, anybody.
Well, and they've done this several times now the last couple of weeks. They've just kind of thrown someone out there to wrestle against one of their main talents. And so, which I don't understand. You know, you have all this talent that's on your roster that you never use.
Yeah.
And you keep throwing these people out that nobody knows.
Yeah.
And you know who's going to win.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious. And we had another match just like this later in the evening, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. So Lucha House Party gets the win. It was a pretty short match. It was one of those Lucha House rules where the 3 guys take on the 1 guy. It's not just one opponent.
Yeah.
They did the same thing a couple weeks ago with Dash and Dawson. It was a tag match, and it was a 3-on-2.
Yeah.
And so they were, like, mad about that or whatever. But, you know, it was a match. Then we get Ricochet versus Robert Roode, and the winner is in the Money in the Bank match. Now, what I didn't get about this match is it was already decided last week that Ricochet, or 2 weeks ago, sorry, my bad. 2 weeks ago it was decided that Ricochet is in the Money in the Bank match.
Again, this was a match that should have been...
But, this was like qualifier.
This should have been a match that was done 2 weeks ago, but when they were deciding who was going to be in the Money in the Bank.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me why we had this match.
No, it didn't, and it doesn't make sense. It's when you have the talent, you have, you know, the storylines again are being messed up. They're messing up the storylines. If you're gonna do something like this, then do it when
with
you're
flair.
Before you have the Money in the Bank.
Terrible meme.
You know, people at the Money in the Bank already signed up, and you know, we've already put out a poster for Money in the Bank, and these are the wrestlers that are going to be there. And by the way, we're going to have this qualifying. Well, it doesn't matter. The fact is that someone's putting it out there, and so you know. And they even announced that Ricochet was going to be in it.
Yeah, they did 2 weeks ago. He was already announced to be in it, and so I think. The way they kind of explained it was Robert Roode felt that he should have been in the Money in the Bank match, and so Ricochet was putting his opportunity on the line, and then if Robert Roode won, he then would be put in instead of Ricochet.
Well, that's the way I understood it, but why don't you just do that 2 weeks ago?
Why not just do a qualifying match then?
And they should have had everybody qualify, rather than just throwing everybody in, because that's part of creating the storylines.
Yeah. I mean, it is. And Ricochet ends up winning and gets to keep his spot in Money in the Bank.
For now.
For now. So I want to talk about the women's Money in the Bank match in just a second after we talk about this next segment. So this is Lacey Evans versus an unnamed opponent, another local person, as I would assume. And she ends up getting the win after she hits the women's right on this person, and she I don't know, they got a good close-up shot, but you know, it's nothing to go home about. And so Lacey gets the win, and then after, earlier in the show, she had sent invitations to the women who were in the Money in the Bank match from Raw, so Natalya, Dana Brooke, Naomi, and Alexa Bliss. She sent them all invitations and had asked them to come to ringside to talk, to chat. She tells them that at Money in the Bank, they're going to come up short, just like Becky will. And then Becky comes out and lays waste to Lacey. And Lacey runs to the back after Becky knocks her out.
Here's the problem with this. They had Lacey Evans. They're trying to build her up. And they have her wrestle some nobody. The issue I have with this whole segment entirely, any sense
it was a total of 5 minutes. And I have a problem with that because the women have been having really good segments the last several weeks. And this was absolute trash. Utter garbage. This is sad. The 5-minute segment that they had this week is sad.
Yeah, I agree.
Compared to the last several weeks. It is absolutely terrible, and this shouldn't be happening. Take out the match with Lucha House Party. Take out the Ryder and Hawkins match versus the Viking Raiders later in the evening, which we've already seen, to add more time to the women's segment because this is not cool. What they did this week with the women in total on Raw and SmackDown both was not very good. And that's the one thing I will say about SmackDown is I disliked not that I dislike the women's segment, but it wasn't my favorite compared to the last several weeks. Because they just it wasn't good. It was overshadowed and, like, wasn't focused on very much, and I have an issue with that.
I don't think it was very well thought out. Again, you just throw some unnamed opponent. You're supposed to have Lacey Evans looking big and tough.
Lacey has gotten in the ring a total of twice. She's been on Raw and has wrestled twice on Raw. Once against Natalya to earn her spot. Earn it. To have a match with Becky at Money in the Bank. And then tonight with this unnamed nobody in about 2.2 seconds when she knocked her out with her right hand. This also leads to the issue of how is Lacey built up as a viable competitor for Becky. What is that I hear? Crickets chirping?
As of right now.
There is no viable reason why she should be facing Becky at Money in the Bank because they haven't done anything with it.
Well, they haven't done anything with any of the women.
No.
So what are you talking about?
They haven't done anything with any of the women, which is the issue.
She probably deserves as much as anybody.
Okay.
Well, tell me who else deserves it, because they haven't done anything with anybody.
Bayley. I know she's on Smackdown. Bayley.
Why?
Because
why?
She's worked her butt off for the last several months. In the women... Okay, she's worked her butt off in the women's division as a whole. Last several months, she'd been, tag team champs and stuff. And then she was dropped off the face of the earth like a nobody. And that shouldn't have happened. She should have been put into the women's title spot, like, right after WrestleMania. But instead, we're having another match with Charlotte Flair.
Why, though?
Woo! Woo!
But why?
Great.
Because Charlotte Flair brings money in. That is why.
Okay, I don't care. We've seen... Okay, there was a post on Twitter the other day. Sorry, I'm going on a rant for a second. There was a post on Twitter the other day that showed the literal amount of times that we have seen Becky versus Charlotte. Your stomach.
My stomach just growled.
There was a post that literally showed...
That's what my stomach thinks.
All the posters of the last year of how many times we've seen Charlotte versus Becky at pay-per-views. At almost every single pay-per-view over the last year. We have seen Charlotte versus Becky. Okay? They always put on good matches. I'm not putting it past them. Great matches. They work really well in the ring together because they've been paired up so much. But where the issue lies, once again, it's the same person going for the title.
I agree. I mean, some of the stuff they've done has been ridiculous.
And I don't care how much money
part of
Charlotte
it is creating
makes.
storylines.
You can't build anybody up. Okay, sorry. I'm trashing Lacey. And they're, like, trying to build her up. But they haven't given us any reason as to why we should think that she should be in the title spot at all.
They haven't given you any reason to think why anybody should be in the title spot.
Okay.
They haven't.
I know they haven't, but what I'm saying is they really haven't given a reason as to why Lacey should be in the title spot, aside from her being Vince's new favorite.
Well, whatever the case may be, she might be his new favorite. But the fact is right now, with the way they've done things, there's really nobody that's really shown that they should be in the title spot.
It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. Now, with the women's Money in the Bank match, what I have heard... And what was being reported was that Sasha Banks is supposed to be in the Money in the Bank match. Now, whether this actually happens or not, I don't know. But it's being rumored that she is either going to show up at the Go Home show, the Go Home Raw, which would be next week, for Money in the Bank, and she's going to take out one of the competitors so they can't compete and they have to put her in their place. Or, the other theory that's being thrown around is she goes to Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and it's all the way it's supposed to be, and then she takes out Bayley, and it's the ultimate heel move. She beats up Bayley, and Bayley can't compete in the Money in the Bank match, and then Sasha takes her place, and yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting to see that. It'd be the ultimate heel move. They go from being tag team partners and best friends to being heated rivals, once again.
Yeah. Again, if they create a storyline off of it, it might be okay.
Could be very interesting.
I mean, part of it is creating storylines.
So, that was my little rant on the women. Sorry. Wasn't great this week. Not good at all. Next, we get a Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio segment. And so backstage, Dominic is talking to Ray, and they're like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Mysterio goes into his dressing room, and Dominic keeps walking down the hallway, and Samoa Joe comes up out of nowhere and follows him down the hallway. We go to commercial break, and we come back, and they're chatting. And, he's like, I saw the way that you lifted up your dad last week after he won the match against me, and it just made me look bad. And so he said, you know what? At Money in the Bank, I'm going to defend my U.S. title against your father, and I'm going to lay waste to him, and there will be no reason for you to come out unless it is to bow down at my feet, because I am the true champion. I am the better man of the two of us. The three of us. Two of us. Whatever. And so, there's another match announced. Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title at Money in the Bank.
Because we need to see that.
Again.
Yeah.
We saw it at WrestleMania.
There's no
I'm expecting them to put the belt on Mysterio.
And then Dominic's going to chase after him and go for the title.
I was going to say, or twist ending. I said this in the other day. After watching this, I was like, or twist ending. Rey Mysterio ends up not being able to compete or something. And he's like, Dominic, I want you to take my place. And then Dominic goes in the match, and he just, destroys Joe. And then he wins the U.S. champion.
I don't know why they would put Dominic in this situation. He hasn't been, you talk about Lacey Evans.
It's being... okay, so
at
real
least
quick.
she was in NXT for a while. Dominic hasn't shown anything in NXT, and so
he hasn't. But he's Rey Mysterio's son, so it doesn't shock me that they're putting him on the main show because it's his son. It doesn't shock me at all. Now the thing that was being reported was that he has signed a contract with WWE, and I know Rey Mysterio has talked about him training, he's training to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
And so, he's talked about that recently, and which is why it wouldn't surprise me if they went that route and had him wrestle.
Well, it wouldn't shock me either. But I don't understand why they're bringing him right to the main show and putting him in there.
Like I said, because he's Rey Mysterio's son, it just makes sense to me.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me.
I guess it would go along with, not favoritism, but
Favoritism.
Favoritism.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which is why their stories are not real good right now.
So then we get another tag match. We get Ryder and Hawkins, who are your Raw Tag Team Champions, versus the Viking Raiders in a non-title match. And, of course, the Viking Raiders get the win. So I am thoroughly expecting to see a Viking Raiders versus... Viking Raiders versus Ryder and Hawkins at Money in the Bank for the championships.
Probably.
If anything, it's going to make the pre-show.
Again, you have build a storyline up. They don't build anything up. They just had the match, and that's it.
And I'm thoroughly expecting Viking Raiders to get the win and win the championships when this match is announced. 100% expecting it.
Probably, but just being a tag team...
What doesn't make any sense to me is that they haven't lost their NXT belts yet.
Well, being a tag team champion right now doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it's going, I don't see tag team the whole tag team division right now is just messed up.
A joke, which will lead to a next segment here in just a minute. But right before that, we have Roman versus Drew. And so Roman hits... This is the end of the match. Roman hits Drew with the Superman punch. But before he could go for the pin, Shane and Elias come down and attack Roman and cause the DQ. Then we get Miz. I almost said Mr. Miz, but that would be his father. We get Miz, who comes out. They're go to the back or whatever. And Shane gets attacked by Miz. And then Shane escapes through a limousine. So we're still building that up to Money in the Bank. Cage match, it'll be good. Roman and Elias.
It's a match that should have occurred at WrestleMania. And just ended the feud there.
I said they were going to stretch this out really far.
Yeah, which is dumb. I
hope the end of it is at Money in the Bank.
Well, I just think they should have. They should have done that match at WrestleMania, ended it there.
Well, they did have a match at WrestleMania. The thing is, they had a match at WrestleMania.
But I mean the cage match where it ends and it's over and it's done.
Shane jumps off the cage and dies.
Yeah. Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's going to do some Daredevil. Well, I mean, it's not going to be like a crazy high cage like what it was with The Undertaker, but like it'll be a cage match and Shane's going to jump off something high.
When you're jumping from 25 feet in the air onto,
No,
a table.
but I'm pretty sure that the one at WrestleMania with Undertaker was a Hell in the Cell match, and that's like a bigger cell that like surrounds.
So when you're jumping from 25 feet in the air, it's...
I know, they're both like really high heights.
So it's, that's what I'm saying. He's going to
jump and be a Daredevil and
it's
like
something they should
die.
have done back at WrestleMania just to get that feud over with.
Oh my gosh, what if he does that like shooting star press thing that he does from the top rope, where it's like the ricochet move where he like flips or whatever that he's been doing recently?
I can't see him doing
and
that.
he does it off the cage. Oh, that'd be nuts. But I could totally see Shane McMahon doing that though. He's like, I'm just gonna lay it out all out.
Well, yeah,
and
then he misses everything he's aiming for and
dies.
Yeah.
I could very well see that happening too. So now we are at a total of, all right, let's see here. We got Roman, we got DB, we got Kofi. That's 3 right there from SmackDown. Now we got Shane and Elias. And I want to say Miz, but Miz is on Raw now, and I keep forgetting that. So that's 5 people. That's 5 people from SmackDown on the Raw, when it was just supposed to be 3.
Well, again, it doesn't make any difference. So it's obviously they're going to start
Vince
doing a lot of
cannot stick
crossover.
to his own rules.
It's just a lot of crossover stuff. That's what's going to happen.
So next segment. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This was a doozy. We are supposed to get Gallows and Anderson versus the Revival. This match never happens because before the match gets started, the Usos come out to tell the Revival that they have put Uzi Hot in their trunks.
Again, a segment that I don't understand. I don't know what the point of it was. Why they did this, I don't know.
So then after that, we get the Revival in the ring who starts to kind of hop around a little bit. They start to hop around. And then they get out of the ring, and the Usos are like, oh, we got some water for you. We got some water for you. Up at the top of the ramp. And then they pour it in their trunks, and they're like, oh, but we forgot to mention, it makes it worse. And then they start to jump around again and like scooch their butts on the floor, and this was not humorous at all. Awesome. WWE Stomping Grounds. Super cool. When I did watch wrestling, I loved Rey Mysterio. I think I was watching when he got unmasked.
Yep, probably.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him get thrown through the side of a building, too.
In WCW.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's why I like Rey Mysterio. It's just when he wrestles the bigger guys, I kind of... All I can picture is him wrestling or being thrown through the side of the building by like Kevin Nash.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this segment, like I said, it was a doozy. It was not great. Like, like I said in the beginning, the Revival are the newest comedy act. I think they're just being
here's what I think's gonna happen.
Crapped upon.
They're gonna leave.
It's not.
I think.
Well, it was rumored that they were given a new contract and then they didn't sign it.
They're leaving.
It was. They were offered a lot of money.
And so I think right now what WWE is trying to do, unlike what they did with Dean Ambrose, they're trying to make the Revival look really bad and look like goofballs, and so I think that I don't think there's any doubt that the Revival is going to leave and go somewhere else.
Honestly, they're the new laughing stock of WWE. Last week it was a stupid shaving video, and this week it's the dumb Uzi Hot thing.
Yeah.
They're also not making the Usos look very good. I thought moving them to Raw was a good idea. I'm kind of regretting that statement now.
Well,
they were better off on SmackDown.
Again, it's the way they're dealing. The storylines they're creating just aren't real good right now.
No, they aren't. They're really not. So then we get, oh boy. Then we get Lars Sullivan, who comes out to interrupt No Way Jose's Conga line. Now that is a total of 6 guys from SmackDown.
Yep.
Now it would be 5 if you're looking at it talent-wise, where you're saying, oh, Shane McMahon isn't talent, but he's wrestling, so he is talent. So that's 6 guys who have now come over. And Lars Sullivan pretty much just does that. He joins the Conga line and beats people up. That's what he does now. He looks like a monster.
Well, and I thought they were going to make him look like a legend killer with the way they started out, which I thought would have been a cool angle to go with, is have him come out and, destroy all these legends. But they've kind of turned it into, like, a joke. I mean...
Honestly, yeah. They came out... Well, what's weird, I think... actually, I have an idea. Just kind of popped in my head. I have thoughts. And I will talk about those thoughts in just a second, because it has to do with Smackdown. So as soon as we skip over to the Smackdown side of things, and just a hop, skip, and a jump away, we got to talk about the main event real quick, and then we'll talk more about Lars Sullivan. We get Kofi versus Bryan for the WWE Championship, and Kofi retains. All right, time to jump to Smackdown, people.
Again, I thought it was a good match.
It was a good match. It was pretty... I wasn't expecting Bryan to get the championship back.
No, I wasn't either.
Just because it didn't really make a lot of sense to me, especially with the way they went with going with Bryan now. It makes a lot of sense why he didn't win.
But overall, I thought the show was not good. It was terrible.
Raw was not good.
There was no... Again, there's no storylines being created. There's just kind of throwing matches together. And there's no, you really don't know where they're going with anything.
Yeah.
And they're not really making it so you're guessing where they could be going with storylines.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are no storylines.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So then we go to SmackDown. We're talking about SmackDown now. Tuesday, we get AJ, who opens the show. He tells us it's great to be back on SmackDown, and I missed it. Well, dude, you've been gone for 3 weeks. You really couldn't have missed it that much. Then he tells us that, like, he wanted to be the first one to make the jump, to be the first one to show up on SmackDown from Raw, and he did just that. Then we get Sami Zayn, who comes out, and I was kind of like, huh? I don't get it. Sami Zayn, why are you out here? Then he kind of, like, rambles on to AJ about some stuff, crowd, terribleness. Don't know. Then Kofi comes out and tells both of them off. It's like, I get it. I see. You're here. Cool. Awesome. And he brings Xavier Woods with him. And then AJ, he started talking about, like, title shot or something like that. And, like, oh, I see that gold that you have, and I used to carry that gold, and, like, now, like, I want a shot. And I was like, okay. And then Sami, like, tells him that, like, oh, you shouldn't have to listen to AJ. He's trash. I should have a title shot. And both at the same time, I was like, these are 2 dudes from Raw fighting over the SmackDown Championship. It's like, okay. Then Kofi says, it doesn't matter which one of you I defend against, but I will, and I will come out champ. And then it is announced that for later in the evening...
A triple threat match.
Did I call this or what? I did.
Oh, we're sitting there. Because it's really hard to figure out because they do it every week.
I was sitting there, and I was like, well, first I thought it was going to be a meaningless tag match, and it was going to be Xavier Woods and Kofi versus AJ and Sami. And then it wasn't, and I was like, cool. And then I was like...
Then you knew it was going to be a
he's going to defend the title against both of them. Even better! And so that's what it was. So then we get a video after that segment is over, because it is announced that they have a match later in the evening. We get a Kevin Owens video talking about it being his birthday, because when SmackDown was happening, it was Kevin Owens' birthday. Happy birthday to you, Mr. KO, a couple days late. A day late, because that would have been yesterday. And then, yeah, that's straightforward. It tells why he's not there and not opening the show. It's because it's his birthday, and he doesn't feel like he should have to be there. Then we get Ali versus Andrade, which was announced earlier in the week. Last week, I guess. And I was looking forward to this match. Till they ruined it. With it ending in a DQ after Randy Orton came out and RKO'd Ali. And then he ended up RKOing Andrade. And there was a split second I was like, ooh. maybe they're gonna make Ali look real, and then he got RKO'd by Randy Orton. I was like, strong. And look real strong right there, WWE.
Yeah.
Great job. I thought they were gonna make him look strong and have him take out Randy Orton, but he didn't. I don't understand what the purpose of Randy Orton coming out was. It ruined a perfectly good match. You didn't need to have him come out there, in my opinion. I understand he's in Money in the Bank, but he's already built up and established, and he's a big superstar.
Well, again,
and so I don't understand why you had to do
I'm
this.
okay with him coming out as long if they create some sort of storyline out of this.
I'm not.
Because
I just don't understand why they had to do it.
They're going to, because they aren't doing that right now.
He's done that the last couple weeks to people, hasn't he? He's just come out and RKO'd people.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what the purpose is. You're ruining perfectly good matches that are amazing, could be amazing, and you ruin them by having him come out and RKO people.
Yeah.
And then the match ends in DQ. Thank you very much. So that was great. Then you get a long Roman Reigns returning video. And this was like dating all the way back to when he like won the WWE Championship back at like WrestleMania 32.
Again, why did they do this?
It was like 7 minutes of the show, and I was like, I know when that happened. I know when that happened. I know when that happened.
Why did they do it?
I know when that happened. To get him on the show, I guess? To get him out there? Because he wasn't going to be on the show anyways?
Because Roman Reigns needs to have, like...
Exactly.
A big, long segment to get out there.
Exactly.
It was a pointless...
I don't understand why we had to do that. They started talking about Roman Reigns being on Raw the night before, and then they showed this video, and it just didn't make any sense to me. Then, after this long-winded Roman Reigns thing, we get Shane, who comes out to announce the newest tag team champions for SmackDown. And when this happened, okay, they swerved us. Because I was like, for sure, Shane and Elias. Because that's who one of the teams that they were like putting out there who could be tag champs was Shane and Elias. And I was like, they're going to put the belts on them. It just makes sense with the way they're going, right? Right? And then, well, he addressed The Miz first and what happened on Monday. Then, Then he says there was only one true tag team who was logical for this spot. And then he's like, here they are. Ladies and gentlemen. And I was going to be like, Elias. And then Elias didn't come out. And Daniel Bryan's music hit. And Rowan came out with him and I was like, Shane just swerved us.
Well, I think he had to because the fact that he's going to be wrestling The Miz at Money in the Bank, I think that's probably why they did it this way.
Probably, but it didn't make any sense. They weren't even... Okay, I was like, I put a tweet and I was like, how is this even fair? Okay, people? Because they were not even advertised as a tag team who was in the running for these belts.
Okay, but look at what they've done the whole time. I mean, it's everything they've done hasn't made sense.
And I mean, like, I'm not mad at it, but I'm also like, huh? So they swerved us, and it's totally not what I thought was gonna happen, because I feel like Elias and Shane were, like, super logical and made sense. It'd be the Shane move. The Shane heel move. He'd be like, there was no other better tag team than Elias and I. And we are tag champs now.
It would have been a good move, but I think that the one thing... See, again, they should have had some sort of tournament or something. They could have made it interesting. They chose not to. And so, you know, they could have come up with some big storyline where your SmackDown champions, tag team champions are, you know, the final could be at Money in the Bank.
It could.
But
the issue we have with that is there are only, when they're announcing these this week, there is this week and next week, and then the pay-per-view is next Sunday.
Okay, so you could have had 4 teams, or 8 teams. Could have had, 4 matches this week, 2 matches next week, and then the championship match at Money in the Bank.
I mean, possibly, but I feel like just 2 weeks isn't enough time to do that, in my opinion.
Why? It's a storyline you created. It's quick.
I get that, and I understand that. But, like, I feel like if you're going to do a tournament or something like that, you need more time than just 2 weeks. Especially right before pay-per-view where you would defend them.
Well, you had an injury that kind of messed everything up. So it's like you could throw something together quick and not just...
I understand that.
Here's our champions because we want to hand it to them.
Which is why they went this route and not the okay, we're going to have a tournament to see who the next tag champs are, because it did happen on the fly and they weren't intending on Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy to lose the championships. That wasn't their intentions. Because Jeff Hardy legitimately got hurt. So they had to roll with the punches, and with only being 2 weeks away from Money in the Bank, they had to figure out who they were going to put the belts on. Especially if they were going to have those titles defended at Money in the Bank.
Well, you could have decided that over the next 3 weeks. Have a tournament.
But then you don't have your big payoff match at Money in the Bank.
Why?
Because we only have 2 weeks, Dad. We had this SmackDown, and then we have one SmackDown left, which is next week, and then we have the pay-per-view.
So you could have had 4 matches.
That is 2 weeks.
Yeah. You could have had 4 matches this week, 2 matches next week, the championships at Money in the Bank.
I mean, possibly. I don't know. I feel like it's just too little of time to do so, and you need like an extra, you need at least 3 weeks, in my opinion.
They changed things right before the show, so why couldn't they throw something together?
I don't know, but I don't have a problem with it. So then we have the Usos who come out. The Usos. And they tell them, nope, not this is not happening. Ryan and Rowan is the new tag champs. Ha ha, laughable. They tell us this is not happening because we worked too hard to make those titles mean something. And for you to just put them on those 2 goons. Nope. And then Shane says, we're going to have a match then. You two think you're so smart? We're going to have a match between you two. You versus Brian and Rowan. And the winner walks out the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And then Brian and Rowan walk out the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Get ready, people, because we're about to see the hemp belts make a return. Only this time in tag team form.
Yeah, I think so.
He even said so.
Yeah, that's what...
Brian and Rowan, they even said so backstage.
Yeah.
They said, we got some changes to make here.
Yeah.
Gotta fix these. So I'm expecting next week we see them come out with the hemp belts. So then we get a Firefly Funhouse segment. And this is the same segment that showed up on Raw. I just didn't write it down. And we get Mercy the Buzzard in a box. And he's eating something, and we're not quite sure what it is. Bray Wyatt goes over to him and is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you see fuzz flying everywhere. And he killed Mercy the Buzzard, killed Ramblin' Rabbit. Can't believe he would do such a thing. They gotta change their intro screen now. They no longer have him. Then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I felt the need to kill him. And then Bray tells him it's perfectly fine to express yourself, whether it's painting or murdering somebody. It's fine. And then he tells Mercy the Buzzard that you should be rewarded with the picnic. And we have all these children sitting in a circle with this look on their face.
Mad faces look on. Or mad looks on their faces.
They don't look like they're enjoying themselves at this picnic.
No.
And then Wyatt does his regular, all right, my Fireflies. I'll light the way, and all you gotta do is let me in. Bye!
I think that, what they're doing with him is pretty cool. I think that, again...
I made a revelation the other day.
They're doing a storyline with him, and I think that he's going to come out and he's going to be a different character than what he is right now when he starts to wrestle. But the one thing I hope they don't... I hope that... if they're going to do it for the next 2 weeks, fine. But it should end at Money in the Bank. Or, the week before, right before Money in the Bank. Next week, I guess it'd be. And don't carry it on beyond that. Let him get back in the ring. But, I don't know. We'll see what they do with it.
So, I was watching another wrestling stream. And I kind of made the connection that, all the different puppet things are, representations of his old characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they're killing them off. Well, so it looks like they're killing them off. So, what if... Okay, so they kill off Ramblin' Rabbit, okay? And that's, like, representing his, like, NXT days.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Mercy the Buzzard thing, which is, like, his Wyatt family stuff, where he was with them, and it's the Follow the Buzzards. And then we get the Sister Abigail thing, which was most recent, before he was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was on his own. And he was like, oh, I gotta talk to Sister Abigail, and blah, 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 blah. So, what if next week we see Sister Abigail then kill off Mercy the Buzzard, and we're left with that, and then, like, I don't know.
We'll see where they go with it. But that's the one thing about it is they've created a storyline here. People are trying to guess what's going to happen here.
Like,
and
I'm very...
It's one of the few things that I would say that WWE has done right as of late is they've created this storyline.
Well, when they first brought him back, I was like, what are they doing with him? Are they making him into a joke? And then they're like, they've done more stuff with it, and I'm like, ah-ha-ha. I see now. Follow the buzzards. Follow the fireflies.
Yeah.
Light up the way. All you gotta do is let me in.
Yeah. So we'll see what they do with it. It's entertaining. It's interesting. We'll see where they go with it and see how they handle it, and hopefully, they end it well, and they don't let it go on for like ever.
Yeah. So, one more thing about this segment is that next week. So last week last week he put up a Twitter post saying that, like, in his old promo videos there was a secret hidden message, and see if anybody can find it. But next week he's announcing what that secret hidden message in his old promo videos was. Mm-hmm. So I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
To see, like, where they go with this. Wondering what that secret thing is supposed to say. So then we come back, and it's more Shane. Because Shane is lovely. And Shane comes out to make an announcement about Money in the Bank. And then he starts to talk about, like, when somebody wins. And then Miz comes out from the crowd and attacks Shane once again. And then the B team comes out and helps Shane. But then Miz retaliates and takes both of them out. And then Shane gets a chair and leaves Miz laying there after he smacks him upside the head. So, this is a very needed segment. I just had to spice up the show. Wouldn't you say? I'm being so sarcastic right now. It's not even funny.
I don't know that it was... Again, it's like the same thing they've been doing. Shane basically beats up The Miz and takes off.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory again, same thing. Then we get a backstage segment between Bryan and Rowan and Heavy Machinery. And it's essentially they're just like, congratulations.
And then it was a stare down.
Bryan and Rowan
there wasn't a whole lot said there.
No, it was congratulations, and they were just kind of like...
That's it. There wasn't much to it.
Can't believe you said congratulations to me, you monster. What were you thinking? Nobody says that now.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're doing with that, but like there wasn't...
Are they going to try and build up Heavy Machinery
I don't know, because
for the next SmackDown Tag Team Championships?
It just seems like that you see Heavy Machinery a lot in the back talking to different teams.
Or drinking weird smoothies that they're putting together.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
That's like way back.
I don't know where they're going with it.
Becky segment, like for Royal Rumble or something like that. After the Royal Rumble. So then we get a tag match, which originally, I'm a little mad with this too, because originally this is supposed to be a 6-woman tag match, and it was supposed to be Ember Moon and Carmella and Bayley versus Mandy and Sonya and Charlotte, and then last second, they cut out flipping Bayley and Charlotte, and I don't get it. I don't understand. You've been advertising like they advertised it for that morning, and I don't understand it. So then we get Ember Moon and Carmella versus Mandy and Sonya, and Mandy and Sonya get the win. Woo. And then after that, Paige with Asuka and Kairi come out, and Paige says, "This is my new team, and they're gonna rip through you next week." So next week, it's looking like we're gonna see Mandy and Sonya versus Asuka and Kairi Sane in a tag match.
Yes.
Expecting Asuka and Kairi Sane to get the win, because I'm expecting them to be the ones to have the belts next. Where were the Iconics, and why are they not defending their titles?
They weren't there. I mean, both nights the women's segments were really short.
Trash. Trash. No, let's be honest.
I suppose if
they weren't short, they were trash.
Well, I suppose if you're trying to build up some tag teams, then this is the way to do it.
But what tag teams? Ember Moon, Carmella, Mandy, and Sonya, they're all in the Money in the Bank match. Mandy and Sonya are a tag team. Carmella and Ember Moon are not a tag team.
Well, if you're looking for tag teams to try and make it interesting, then you'd have to throw some people together.
I don't know. So we have that. So that's fun. Then we get a backstage interview with Matt Hardy. And this is where Lars Sullivan stuff comes in. They're like talking to him. They're like, oh, how's Jeff doing? Blah, 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 blah. He's doing great. He'll be back in better in no time, Cool. And then R-Truth comes up to him and is like, hey, I need to ask you something. Oh. But I forgot what I was going to ask you about. And then they're like, Lars Sullivan? Oh, yeah, it's something I don't want to think about. That's why I couldn't remember what I was going to ask you. And then they, start talking. And then, this is now a meme on the internet. I kid you not. Matt Hardy's like, oh, he's right there! And, pulls a Mr. Miz, punching pose. And people have made memes of Mr. Miz and Matt Hardy, facing one another. And they're, getting ready to fight. They're like, let's see who can throw the best punch. It's hilarious. This is an absolutely corny segment. And then Lars Sullivan comes in and attacks both of them. So, now, where my theory comes in, I'm expecting, because they keep making mention of the reason that Jeff Hardy got injured was Lars Sullivan. At the hands of Lars Sullivan, Jeff Hardy got injured. So, I'm thoroughly expecting there to be a Matt Hardy and Lars Sullivan match here in the next couple weeks or so.
I don't know. They've had R-Truth fighting him a lot too, so
I'm expecting Matt Hardy and Lars Sullivan though, just because they keep making mention of him being the reason that Jeff Hardy was put out with an injury.
Maybe they'll do a handicap match where it's R-Truth and Matt Hardy versus
Lars Sullivan. I mean, yeah, that'd be woot woot. Then we get an Aleister Black promo. Another one of his mystical, creepy, black, fade to black promo situations.
Is this 3 weeks in a row?
I think so. It's no longer than Bray Wyatt.
But the thing is, he was there, so why aren't they using him?
I don't know.
I mean, they can...
Like I said, the only reason I can see them is because they're trying to build up this new character for him. Where it's more dark and less
which is fine,
of
but
that
you could build him up.
Happy-go-lucky tag team dude.
Build him up and have him at the matches, or have a match, or have him interfere in a match, or have him come out and...
What if he shows up with Money in the Bank?
Well, he might, but just the way they're using him is, ridiculous. I mean, do something with him.
Yeah, I'll agree. Then we get the main event, which is AJ versus Sami versus Kofi for the WWE Championship. Boy, oh boy, I'm not going to lie. I kind of was rooting for Sami in this match, and there was a point in time where I was like, no flipping way. Sami's going to win the championship, and we're going to get Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank. No way.
No, I mean, well, I didn't ever think... definitely thought that...
I thought it was odd that they have him defending his title 2 days in a row. That's what I was thinking at first. I was like, okay, so he's defending his championship 2 days in a row. He defended it successfully last night. They're going to throw a curveball at us. They did by having Kevin Owens come out and attack Woods, which distracted Kofi, so Sami could then capitalize and hit powerbomb on him and go for the pin. He kicked out. He did the powerbomb again. He kicked out again. He went for it a third time, and he kicked out again. Which is where I was like, oh, he was so close. And I kind of, there was a small piece of me that was like, I want Sami Zayn to win. I want him to win. And then go on to fight Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank. And then he didn't. Kofi ended up retaining the championship. But there was just a split second where I was like, man, I want Sami to win. Kind of made me a little upset. But then I was okay.
Well, I thought it was kind of a weak show overall. They could have done a lot more with it.
I mean, yeah, they could have.
Didn't.
They could have.
So I don't understand, why they did some of the things they did.
So, now, on to NXT, my kind sirs. So, we start NXT off with a Bianca Belair versus Mia Yim match. Good match. Enjoyed it. It's good. And Bianca Belair ends up getting the win. Kind of as expected. I kind of expected her to win.
Well, I think she's going to be the one that eventually challenges Shayna Baszler.
Ooh, I gotta disagree. I know who's challenging next.
Well, because Io Shirai is going to get beat by Shayna Baszler.
Not if they're going to move her up for SummerSlam.
Moving Shayna Baszler up for... They better come up with a good storyline, because right now, the way
I swear to you, I see it going that way.
Well, it might be, but they better come up with something good.
Hey, Adam, how's it going?
How's it going, Adam?
I know nothing about wrestling, but just here hanging out. Awesome. Sounds good to us. Welcome to the chat. I kind of think that Io Shirai is going to win the NXT Women's Championship next, just due to the fact that I think they're going to move Shayna Baszler up and try and put her in that big title picture up there. Now, whether that is against Becky, or Lacey, or Charlotte, or Becky, it really doesn't matter. But I think that's where... Okay, it really does matter. It should be Becky. But, I think they're going to move her up and put her in the title spot. Like I said, and I think they would be aiming for SummerSlam. And the next takeover is June 1st in Connecticut, yeah. I believe. They moved it because of the Saudi shows.
Yeah.
And so I'm thoroughly expecting we get to see Io Shirai and Shayna there. And then Io wins. Shayna moves up. And then at SummerSlam, she has a huge match.
I think she still needs some in-the-ring work.
I'm not disagreeing.
But
I'm just going off of what I think they're going to do, because they lost. They lost Ronda Rousey, so they want to bring somebody up who's more of that fighting style.
I mean, they did.
Because Lacey sure isn't it. And so they want to bring somebody else up who's bigger, who isn't Charlotte Flair, who isn't Lacey Evans, and they want someone who is big.
Oh.
Known. Who's known. Like Ronda Rousey was. Notice how Ronda Rousey leaves and the women's division falls off the face of the map. Why is that? Because they cared about the women's division more because it was Ronda Rousey?
Yep.
What is that saying about your company? You don't have enough faith in your women?
Well, that's a lot.
Who's your top women's star? Who's your top women's star right now? Who's pretty much carrying everybody else? Becky Lynch.
But she lost a lot of pop.
She may have.
She lost a lot of pop before WrestleMania.
But she's your top women's star right now.
Okay, but take the blinders off.
No, I'm not. I don't have blinders on. I'm being dead serious.
Okay, but
who's your top women's star right now?
Okay,
Becky Lynch.
But she's not.
How did you get her there? You built her up. Now. She didn't come in and have a background like Ronda Rousey did. Okay, she wasn't brought in because of her name. Ronda Rousey was brought in. She wanted to experiment with wrestling, and so she came in and she did just that. And she was running with her name. She didn't build herself up and build a fan base like Becky had to.
Well, there's no doubt.
She didn't build anything.
Same reason Brock Lesnar was in there.
Yeah, people hate him.
They do, but the fact is when you, I 100% agree. People hate him, but Becky Lynch had her pop there for a while, and now it's like dead. It's like nothing compared to what it was.
It
lost a lot.
It's less. But I'm telling you right now, it's more than Lacey Evans is getting. It's more than Charlotte Flair is getting. It's more than any other women on that roster is getting. You want to know why? Because she's your top star right now.
But it doesn't say much about the women's division.
Exactly. They didn't care about the women's division unless Ronda Rousey was in it.
So,
a month or so after Ronda Rousey leaves, the women's division falls off the face of the earth. Why is that? Because you lost Ronda Rousey? Again, like I said, it's because you have no faith in your women's division. You have no faith in Becky. You don't think Becky can carry the women's division. Well, she's been carrying the women's division for quite some time recently. And, Fine, let it fall off the face of the earth. See what happens.
Has
People
she
gonna
been
be
carrying
mad.
the women's division, or has it been the feud that was being created that carried the division?
I don't know. But
I think it's the feud that was being created.
But she was big before that feud ever started.
The twins are number one in women's. Bella and
Bella. Yeah.
The Bella twins.
Yeah. But sorry. It's just my opinion. Women's division's fallen off the face of the map, and apparently it's because Ronda Rousey left and we needed her, but before we didn't need her because Becky was big and Charlotte was, those were your two big stars. Now, you want to just let the women's division fall off the map as a whole? I mean, go right ahead. Fine.
But this is the problem with WWE right now overall.
I'm not
in
saying...
general with SmackDown
okay,
and
so
Raw.
the thing is, I'm not saying it's the women themselves that's the reason why they're falling off the face of the earth. It's 100% WWE's fault. I can sit here and say how much I hate Charlotte Flair. Okay? I can sit here. This may have nothing to do with anything, but we'll see. I'm trying to make a statement. Okay? I can say... I don't even know. I
can get you spun up just by talking bad about Becky Lynch.
And you can! Okay? I had a conniption!
I know.
When you flippin' told me your stupid prediction for WrestleMania,
I know.
I was like, there's no flippin' way! They can't do that! It's the women's main event. They were building up to it. You can't frickin' do it!
Again, the way, it's all what WWE wants to do. And right now, there's no storylines for the women. They're not building anything up. You can sit here and talk about how much Becky Lynch is carrying the division. The fact is they're not building anything up for the women's division right now. They're not doing much for the men's division with any of it. The tag team division is terrible.
It's a joke. It's
a
joke.
Overall,
it's a flippin' joke.
The men's division is terrible just because of the storylines. Now we're going to start talking. We're talking about NXT. NXT has been a lot better, and this is supposed to be their developmental league. And
I love how every time that we start talking about NXT and it has to do with the women's division or something, I always bring Becky Lynch into it.
Yeah, she's not even in NXT right now.
And we always do this. I always do this.
You always do this.
Because I make rad comparisons, okay? I'm looking at when you move someone up to the main roster, who are your big people right now? Okay? Becky Lynch is your big person. You want to put Shayna Baszler in a feud with someone who's huge on the main roster? Go right ahead. Serve it to you on a silver platter. Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler.
But you have to build storylines.
You do, and I understand that.
It doesn't matter how big you are if you're not building the storylines in wrestling. Which is the reason that you're having issues right now. Mm-hmm. They can have Roman Reigns on Raw and SmackDown every week. Yeah. And he's a big name. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter. If they're not creating the storylines to make people interested, it's not happening. You don't go watch, a Marvel movie and go, well, Superman or Spider-Man's in this movie, so this is going to be a good movie. Well, just because Spider-Man was in the movie, it's a good movie. There has to be a storyline there that makes people want to watch it and make it interesting.
I mean, I get it. So anyways, we were talking about NXT a while ago, whenever we started talking about that. And so the first match on the show was Bianca Belair and Mia Yim, and this is what started the whole flipping conversation, because we started talking about Shayna Baszler. So Bianca Belair ends up getting the win, and you were talking about how you think she's going to be the next one to get a shot after Io Shirai. And I said, Io Shirai is going to get the next shot, and she is going to win the championship because they're going to move Shayna Baszler up. And then that started our conversation about Becky. And now we're back to NXT. Oh, look, we're going to talk about Shayna Baszler some more. Woohoo! Who knew? So then we get a Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, and Marina Shafir Performance Center video of them training. And during the video, we get none other than Io Shirai, who comes in and attacks Baszler. I had to think of her name real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry. So she attacks Baszler, and then Duke and Shafir, they try to pull her off and stuff, and then other people come in the ring, and it was quite a mess. And so, that's what I said. Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler at TakeOver in Connecticut on June 1st. Calling it now, people.
We'll see.
You're welcome. It's not going to be Bianca Belair. I'm sorry, it's not.
We'll see.
Or they're going to pull some stupid triple threat on us.
I mean, they may end up doing it that way. But I think ultimately what's going to happen is it's going to be Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair.
I think Bianca Belair could potentially also be almost ready to move up too.
The problem is they've moved all these people up from NXT and haven't used them well. So right now, if you're in NXT, you don't want to move up.
Yeah.
Until they figure out how to use the talent they have.
Well, they finally just started using Lacey after several months of her just walking up and down the ramp doing nothing. And even then, they're still not using Lacey very well because she's had a total of 2 matches on TV and she's earned herself a championship opportunity. For what purpose? Nobody knows.
She's earned as much as, anybody else.
Whatever. We can have this conversation day in and day out.
Yep.
And your answer is still going to be the same thing. And my answer is still going to be the same thing.
Yep.
She hasn't earned diddly squat.
Well, whatever. All right. So then we have Raul Mendoza versus Riddick Moss.
And Mendoza gets the win over Moss. Good match.
Well, the funny thing, it was a good match. Again, there aren't many matches on NXT that aren't good. The funny thing is they talked about Mendoza and how he hasn't won, or has he's under the Mendoza line for his winning, and then he gets the win. So I kind of think they foreshadowed that he was going to win the match.
I wasn't paying that close attention. Also, my TV was cutting in and out when I was watching this, so that didn't help either.
Yeah. So,
then we get told that Kushida will be in action next week. Ha-cha-cha. Exciting stuff. Against who? I don't know. Who would you like to see him against next week?
I don't know, because I don't even know who's in NXT anymore, because they've got so many wrestlers.
He was against Cassius Ohno last week.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they've moved so many people around, and
Dominic Dijakovic. No, sorry, they're building him up with Velveteen Dream, so that probably wouldn't work.
That's not going to happen.
I don't even know, man. Who's on the NXT roster? I don't have a clue who is on there that would make, a logical opponent for Kushida next week. Because I feel like... I would love that!
I know you would.
But he would lose.
That's why I said...
He would lose. But, I would love to see that, my dude.
So then after the announcement that Kushida will be wrestling next week, we get...
Oh, I hope they don't put him against Jackson Riker.
Nah, they won't.
Oh, maybe they do.
We get the main event of
Adam
Cole versus Matt Riddle. Good match. Excellent match. I mean, this is why NXT is the best.
It's sad when I'm sitting there, yelling at the TV when I'm like, oh, stupid. You should have done it this way. Why didn't you pull your knee pad down already to hit him with the stupid running knee? Because you would have got him already, but you didn't. I was yelling at Adam Cole through the TV. It was hilarious. I was like, dude, you're a ding dog. That's how you know you're a true wrestling fan, is when you yell at stuff. It's like when you yell at football, only it's just me yelling at wrestlers. Have we ever been to a wrestling show live? No, we haven't.
We haven't been together. She hasn't been to one. I used to go all the time when I was younger.
I haven't ever been to one. It's kind of sad.
I actually would go and watch Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and some of the older guys that some of them, well, a lot of them are dead now.
A lot of them are dead now.
But I would go watch, I'd go watch those guys wrestle.
I have never been to one, and I'm kind of
it's been a long time since
there was some live events
that
were around where we lived recently, and we didn't go. And I'm kind of a little mad about it. Just a little bit.
Well, the bad thing is when you have to travel.
I'm really busy during the week.
An hour and a half to 2 hours to get to it, and then I have to get up for work the next morning.
And I'm really busy every day, except weekends and Fridays. And so yeah, I was kind of a little mad that we weren't able to go to live shows.
So to answer your question, Adam, no,
I've never been to one.
We haven't. Well, together we haven't been to one. I have been. I used to go. Like I said, I used to go all the time when I was younger. But we plan on going to a live show.
Yeah.
At some point in time.
Sometime. Ultimate goal in life is to make it to a WrestleMania. Okay.
Yeah, like only if you start like getting lots of money off of doing YouTube videos and.
That's my ultimate goal. Okay, actually, aside from meeting Becky Lynch and getting something signed, going to WrestleMania.
Well, good. This is not high goals there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You should. I don't even follow it, but I would. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, the times when I went as a kid, I loved it.
Yeah. I wouldn't know anything about that because I've never been to one. Anyways, so Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle, like I said, good match. And I was yelling at the TV, like, you know you're a true fan when you yell at the TV. And like I was saying, it's like you with football. You yell at football.
Yes.
And I don't. But you do. And I yell at wrestling. I'm like, oh, you ding dong. Can't believe you did that.
Yes, the ding dong.
Stupid. Duh, you should hit him with the running knee because he just hit you with like a shooting star press, and that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't been stupid. And so, yeah, that's me on watching wrestling. Or me going, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, do that again.
I can't believe this is happening. Yeah, there you go. No, so good match. Always happy. Adam Cole always has good matches. Also, I mean, Matt Riddle also has good matches. In this instance, like, I get it. Tiny Jerry is a bro. He's a bro. But I'm not.
Yeah, Andrew, you'd appreciate this because Matt Riddle actually is like, they call him the bro. And so, like, when he does interviews and things like that, he goes, bro. And Tiny Jerry now goes, whenever he comes on, his music comes on.
He stops.
He stops what he's doing and goes and runs and looks at the TV and goes, bro.
Yeah, I taught him how to do that.
I'll have to record it sometime and put it on Twitter, and then you can see him.
It's
funny.
Taught him how to do that. Yeah, people. But I was pro Adam Cole in this match because, he's cool. But then Riddle ends up getting the win after Adam Cole rolls out of the ring. Roderick Strong comes down to, like, help him. And then, like, he gets kicked in the head by Riddle. And then Cole gets back in the ring just long enough to super kick the bro. And then it went downhill from there. He put him in, like, the Riddle lock or whatever the heck he calls it.
Yeah.
It's a submission, and he tapped out like a baby. And then the rift continues because we get out of the Matt Riddle, the match is over, and we're left with the Undisputed Era. Standing in the ring, Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong on one side, and Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole on the other. And they just kind of have a stare down, and they're yelling at each other. And Adam Cole is not happy. He's not happy. And, I was like, fight. Let them fight. And the crowd, I'm pretty sure the crowd was chanting fight.
Yeah, they were.
They were. And then after they were done and they were kind of like standing there and they were like, whatever. Then they started chanting, hug. Hug it out. Hug it out. Hug it out. And I was like, no, let them fight. Let them fight. Just break them up. It's coming. The suspense is killing me. Just break them up already.
It's gonna happen, so I think that it's just a matter of when they're gonna do it. So it's.
I was dying for it this week. You don't have a clue.
You're gonna see it happen, and I think eventually. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's a twist, but again, this is what
it's
NXT
all just to fool Johnny Gargano, so then he can win the championship.
This is what, and we haven't seen him in a couple weeks.
No, I honestly, because so I was watching it, and there was maybe 5 or 7 minutes left in the show. And I was like, something else is going to happen at the end of this. What is... Because this match is not going to go on for another, 10 minutes. When this match has already been going on for, 15 minutes. No. And so then they did the Undisputed Era thing. And Roderick Strong came out, and I was like, we're going to see Johnny Gargano, aren't we?
Yeah.
And then we didn't.
Didn't see it.
And it ended up being Undisputed Era stare down, and they're going to break up and stuff, which I'm so ready for. You have no idea. But they got to do it the right way, okay? They got to break Adam Cole off from the group and not split them up into 2 tag teams.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think that's when they do split, you're going to see one leave. And
I would really love it to be Adam Cole. Just stray him away, have him go solo, and then leave Roderick Strong. But I could very well see them just taking Roderick Strong out of the equation, too.
They might.
But I feel like with the way it looked tonight, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly were kind of taking Roderick Strong's side. Kyle O'Reilly was just over there like, dude, you don't do this.
I agree.
Don't touch him.
The way they did it tonight, I thought, it kind of showed where they're...
So I'm kind of hoping that they just have Adam Cole,
I think
super
that's the
kick
route.
Strong in the face next week or
That's
something.
the route they're going to go,
I hope.
think.
Oh, boy,
But again,
I
it's a
hope.
storyline that's being created. People are wondering what's going to happen. You don't have a clue. You see it building, and eventually I think what you're going to have happen is whether it's at TakeOver, you might see an explosion there where things happen.
That could be awesome, dude.
So,
No, just imagine that right now. Okay, so wait. We're going to fantasy book for a second. Would we see Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong at TakeOver? Or is Adam Cole going to be in a championship match and he loses because... But I feel like then that makes Roderick Strong look like the bad guy. But then you could have... The way you could do that is if Adam Cole was in a title match and he was like, yeah, I'm going to win the title or whatever.
well, I think that...
And then, all 3 other members of the era attack him, and then he can't compete in that match.
I don't think it matters which way you go. I think that,
Oh, contraire for it, but it does.
No, it really doesn't.
No, I understand. I get it. But for my personal liking, I want Adam Cole to rift away from the group.
But you see what they're doing. They've created a storyline, and they've got the interest of the people.
That I know they have my interest.
Which is, what it's all about.
Okay, I take back what I said earlier where I said SmackDown was the best show. But I really don't.
See, I convinced you.
But, both were good. I just felt like this week's NXT was kind of lackluster compared to the last couple weeks.
Well, it was, but see...
But, then you get to the Adam Cole and Matt Riddle thing, and I'm
okay,
like,
but you're comparing the NXT to NXT of, previous, but NXT tells a story.
I get it.
Every week they're telling a story.
I know.
And, and sometimes, they throw in these matches, like this, the Mendoza versus... Moss that people sit there and they don't necessarily know who they are, but they're trying to get more people out there so people see who they are.
Yeah.
And so I think that
it's so difficult.
It's keeping the interest while also having new talent that's being shown.
Yeah.
Where SmackDown and Raw, you see the same people every week. The ratings have dropped, and there's really not much happening there with what they're doing. And so I think people have lost interest in SmackDown and Raw right now until they start to create storylines that people want to see or that are interesting. Not necessarily what people want to see. It's the storylines that are interesting, and people sit there and go, well, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Again, it's like a movie or a soap opera.
Yeah. So, real quick, sorry. I never noticed this before, but I was looking at the roster to see who could potentially be the next competitor for Kushida, and I'm kind of thinking potentially Kona Reeves could fight him next week.
I don't know. The one thing about NXT is they bring new people in and different people in, so you don't necessarily know who they're going to have out there.
I never noticed that Rhea Ripley is on the NXT roster.
Yeah.
And NXT UK.
Yeah.
Where some of them aren't.
Yep.
And I was like,
so.
huh? I never noticed that before.
Yep.
The things
makes it interesting.
You learn.
So with that.
That was NXT, that was SmackDown, and that was Raw.
Yes.
So, yeah. Good show. Good show, my kind sirs. This was a long one. This was such a long one.
Well, you had 3 shows to talk about. I mean, when you miss out on Raw and,
Smackdown.
Although this might be the way we need to do it, is just do all 3 at once.
Yeah, got a question. Well, you were probably just about to ask that same question. Would you prefer to see all 3 talked about in one show? Or do you guys like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday stream? Let us know.
Thing about the Monday, Tuesday is they're later.
Yeah.
I realize it's somewhat late right now, but Mondays with Raw ending at 10 o'clock our time.
Yeah. And then not potentially
out.
Getting up there till... Well, then my next question would be, because if...
Adam wants more streams.
If we go the route of just doing it all on Wednesday after NXT, we could also...
Well, you could... if we
watch 205 Live and potentially NXT UK and then recap...
Well, what I was going to say is we could do like a WWE stream on
everything?
Wednesdays. And then potentially with AEW starting to kick up and starting soon, we could have a night where we talk about another organization that's starting. And, if you wanted to, have a night where we talk about Impact Wrestling.
Oh, that'd be Fridays. I kind of recently have been looking at Impact stuff and have been intrigued.
So
I
don't know.
mean,
something we'll think about.
Let us know.
Yeah. Obviously, Adam wants more streams.
So
we won't necessarily just drop all of our streams. We just may add more wrestling organizations into our streams.
Mm-hmm. Add more subjects to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, we'll always still do our pay-per-views and pay-per-view pre-shows and everything. Just potentially schedule change. We'll just see. It was kind of crazy this week because we have our dance season is ending, and so with summer coming up, we'll be able to watch it Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, and then last night we were dropping frames like
crazy. We were having some issues. So if we ever have anything like that, we'll probably just do the double recap thing.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how bad our streams were dropping last night.
Terrible. But I saw on Twitter that a couple other people were having issues with streaming stuff as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
So.
I saw that, and so it's just odd. Not a good night, I guess, for streaming.
Definitely not.
Last night was not a good night.
No.
The world was like, nope, not happening, homies.
Yeah, it was weird because we tried 3 different times. I reset.
We tried more than 3 times. We tried 4 times.
Well, however many times I don't.
4 or 5 times that we tried it. We went up initially, and then it came down.
I reset our router, we messed with the modem.
We reset the computer. We reset.
It didn't matter what we were doing. We turned the computer off, restarted it.
We reset our streaming system thingy.
Yeah, it was everything was just messed up, and I don't know why. We're streaming on a Mac computer right now.
Yeah.
I know that I'd seen where Adam was talking about Windows and an update to Windows. We were actually on a Mac computer streaming off on a Mac in here, and we had issues with dropping frames. So it must have just been the internet or something
all around
that was having issues.
Yeah, who knows?
So anyway, I think with that, that we will go ahead and sign off.
Just a reminder, we generally stream every Monday after Raw, every Tuesday after Smackdown, and every Wednesday after NXT. On occasion, maybe you'll see us just Wednesday or just Tuesday or just Monday, depending on whatever.
Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you know when we go live.
Yeah.
Yes, Streamlabs updated. We're actually just using OBS on the Mac. I prefer Streamlabs, but Streamlabs doesn't work on a Mac, so
we're using what we got.
So we use OBS.
And so generally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So it might have been OBS that was having issues. I don't know.
Maybe, who knows? Make sure to subscribe. Click the notification bell so you're notified every time we go live. Make sure to follow us on Twitter because That was awesome, even though I know nothing that is going on. Thanks for the entertainment. No problem.
Thanks for stopping by and checking us out.
Yeah, thanks so much. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, because on Twitter yesterday, that's where I was putting the updates as to when and where we were supposed to be streaming and what was going on. So make sure to go check me out on there. I am at Maven Gleen, and you get updates and stuff there. And then we're at the Wrestle Story.
Yes.
And you are at...
I'm at Mr. Gleen. Also, you can check out the Wrestle Story.
Yeah. So we should be back, next week for regularly scheduled programming. Next week will be less crazy, and hopefully we don't have any internet issues or anything. And then next week is go home shows to Money in the Bank, and then we will do our prediction stream.
It's almost summer. I have 2.5 weeks left of school.
Who knows? I don't.
So.
But next week, you should be seeing us a lot, because we will have our regular streams, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we will have a prediction show for Money in the Bank, and then we'll have our Money in the Bank recap.
And we have, what's today? The 8th. We are, 17 days away from AEW's...
Oh! Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing.
I forgot. We need to figure out where we can watch that.
I did see where. Oh, that's something I was gonna say. I did see where. Actually, in the United Kingdom, AEW is gonna be on ITV. Pay-per-view. They haven't done anything here in the States yet. I assume that'll be announced soon.
I'd hope so. We need to figure out where to watch it at.
Yeah, and so it has been announced, at least in the UK, which is cool, because it shows that they are working not just here, but they're looking outside the box and other parts of the world to get known.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week sometime. Andrew, thanks for stopping by. Adams, thanks for stopping by. Anybody else that was in our stream, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. And we will talk to you later.
Peace.
Peace out.